Hey everyone, welcome back. It is time for a wrestling review. That's right. It seems like we've been doing a lot more of these this year. We said we might cut back, but it doesn't seem like it. Ain't no slowing us down today. Back with me today is the man himself, Campo.Reviews, the man who reviews movies, TV shows, and wrestling. Look for his stuff down in the bio. His bio will be down in the description. Go on and check him out. If you check me out, you probably already checked him out too. So just, share the love.
Check him out. He's pretty hot.
Share the love. Share the love. Share the love. So today is our review of not the premium live event, but it was a special event, NXT Roadblock.
I mean, I think this is just an NXT thing, I guess, because they don't really do that many like
pay-per-views. Yeah. It's like Impact. Impact does this too.
Yeah.
Impact had Overdrive back in February, but it wasn't a pay-per-view live event.
You know what? I think this is a little bit different. Even like AEW has like Battle of the Belts and like stuff like that. Grand Slam. But I think this is a little bit different. This is like their replacement for not having a pay-per-view this month kind of thing.
Yeah. Kind of like January had the New Year's Evil.
Yeah. I feel like that's just their thing they do now.
But Vengeance Day was a premium live event.
Yes.
I think
what they tell.
Yeah. But I mean, I think what they do is 1 month is the house event and then the premium, because the next one in March will be this month will be Stand and Deliver, or April 1st, technically.
It's so funny though, because throughout this whole show, they're hyping up Stand and Deliver like as if it's Slammiversary or WrestleMania or
I mean, it is on WrestleMania weekend, so
but it's like they're making it seem like it's this massive event for this company, but it's like, dude, we all know that it's not going to be any better than any of your other pay-per-views.
I think Stand and Deliver, it's shaping up to be a good show, just because of what happens at the end of this show.
Well, I can tell you one thing. That's no spoilers. I was so happy to find out that Braun Breaker didn't have a singles match in this event.
He was at almost close to the beginning of the card. But let's start off. The show starts off with Tiffany Stratton. I'm not a fan of her in-ring work, but the way she delivered the setup for this show, I kind of liked. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
What about you? Like, you didn't like? I mean, she did a good hype package.
Yeah, I was fine.
Like, yeah, but okay, if that's fine.
I mean, I wasn't like, oh my god, like it was okay.
No, it was okay.
I guess it's better than what you normally get out of these shows, because we're about to see how bad a lot of that stuff comes out.
Yes, because oh boy, we're gonna get into that when we get into that. First match of the night is Tony D'Angelo versus Dijak in was it a Prison Rules jailhouse match or whatever it is? It's essentially a casket match with a prison cell.
You know, I hate these kind of stipulations.
Mm-hmm.
The match was pretty good.
Yeah, especially for Tony D'Angelo. I'm not. We've had our things about him, but he actually. Are they trying to push him babyface? I guess.
I don't know. With the fan base that they have for NXT, it doesn't really matter if you're
a babyface or a heel,
because they're just cheering. They're just cheering. Like,
yeah,
it's not even like a typical wrestling crowd. They just cheer. Generally.
I think this is more of a long-term setup to start a feud between D'Angelo and Stax, his little lackey.
I mean, yeah, that's possible.
Because in this match, Stax took a lot of hits for him. There's one point where he was about to get locked into the cage, and Stax kind of like throws himself to prevent the cage door from closing.
Yeah, he did, but he's also such a terrible actor. Like
Stax or D'Angelo?
Stax. He hurt a lot of this match just from being around it.
Yeah.
And I mean, goddamn, I watched the re-showing of this when there's no commercial breaks.
Mm-hmm.
And how do people watch wrestling with commercial breaks? Because I'm so used to it from AEW that I don't even see commercial breaks. It's like there's literally Dijak was beating the crap out of him, and then we came back from commercial, and the other guy was Tony D'Angelo was winning.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird.
And they were in a different whole section of the arena. They went from in the ring on the far side to the opposite end outside the ring. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. Then also, I don't know if you noticed this. There's a spot where Dijak kicked Tony over the barricade, and Tony never climbs back over the barricade, but somehow he's all of a sudden back around on the other side.
Yeah, I think he crawled around the corner. I don't know.
You think so? Because it's
Maybe.
like you didn't catch it on camera or anything.
Yeah.
Like I felt like they cut, and then it was an
I
actual
know it was
cut.
live, so I don't think they cut, but
Yeah, but they're live and they're delayed like 30 seconds.
30 seconds. That's true too.
So it might have just been a boring thing. So they were
Yeah.
like, okay, cut that and just bring it back when he comes.
I think he walked around the corner, but like I said, the crowd was definitely behind Tony D'Angelo.
Yeah, I don't know why. Dijak's really good.
Dijak is really good. I mean, he was Ring of Honor champion for a while.
He's actually a really good wrestler.
Yeah, and he actually had a good match here. Like Dijak and Tony, surprisingly, it wasn't.
This was a good match. Period.
Yeah. Like, I mean, the only thing I was upset, no Carmelo on this show.
Okay,
but
we got chairs.
Yeah.
And real chair shots, not WWE chair shots, like real chair
hard shots. Yeah.
And
the only thing I didn't like was the crowbar.
The crowbar, but he got up right away from the chair shots and attacked Dijak. I didn't like that part.
Yeah,
but
he knows
we got a table spot with the WWE fake tables that were already about to break by the time he got. You
could see it bowing already.
He barely put any weight down, and the whole table was already breaking.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. But like I said, I mean, it was a good opener. Tony ends up getting the win. He locks Dijak in the cell with help from Stacks, and then he curses in Italian to him. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah, I did.
He yells out "Vaffanculo" to the guy.
They do that a lot on American TV.
Yeah, because I don't think a lot of people understand, but I mean, it was a decent opener. I had fun with this match. It got me excited for what was to come, but it wasn't much more exciting because from that we go from a high point, we go to a low point with that little vignette with Kiana James and Josh Briggs or whatever his name is, or Cowboy Bob there.
Oh,
it looked like a bad porno.
Yeah. Okay. So, but what was the promo right before this? Do you remember?
No, which one?
I think it was Roxanne Perez.
Oh, okay. About her.
So
her whole life is led to this moment.
My brother-in-law happened to come out, and there's like 3 promos in a row here cut before this next match. It was 3 of the, and I'm not just saying this, 3 of the worst promos I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah,
and
but that vignette with the roses was terrible.
Roxanne Perez should never be allowed to talk on a microphone again. That was absolutely embarrassing. Never do that again.
She needs a mouthpiece. I agree.
And then I don't even know what that was. The vignette, like that was.
I thought it was a setup to a bad porno movie. Honestly,
that was bad, and it comes back later.
It does,
in a different storyline.
There's a payoff because he must have sent you those roses and all that, and she's like, yeah, he sent me the roses, kind of thing, and that's the thing. Like I've noticed that in NXT, especially with the women's tag team, once they get a team together, they automatically split them.
And I don't get that. I still
they did that with Cora Jade and Roxana Perez. They did that with Gigi and JC, and now they're doing it with.
I know,
Kiana
and the thing is, even before Roxanne and Cora, their tag team division was so weak, like so weak.
Oh, they did it with Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark as well.
There you go. So you took 6 of your most popular wrestlers and had them in tag teams and then took them apart. And now your division is left with nothing. There's literally no good teams in your entire division. There's not even, I'm going to say this. You take this how you want. There's not even a good female wrestler in the tag team division right now on NXT.
No. And your best women's wrestler right now in that group is probably Zoe Stark.
Yeah, but she's not getting a push.
No. I think she's a main roster call-up after Mania.
I'll get to this. What's the next match? I forgot already.
It was, before that, they also did the Pretty Deadly and Gallus in the ring.
Gallus is okay on the mic. And I don't have anything wrong with Pretty Deadly, but this interaction was stupid. It's silly. NXT, I feel like it's unintentionally silly. Like they think that they're writing comedy, but it just comes off like really dumb sitcom stuff.
Yeah, it was, and the thing is, I like Pretty Deadly, and like it sets up the match between Pretty Deadly and Gallus for Stand and Deliver.
I mean, I'll take it.
I'm not opposed to that.
I think Pretty Deadly needs to move to the main roster, but
yeah, but that's beside the point. And then finally, this was 2.5 hours, and we're about 40 minutes in now when the first match was only 10 minutes. Was the Creed brothers of Brutus and Julius and Braun Breaker teaming up against Jinder Mahal and Indashir of Veer Mahan and Sangha in a 6-man tag. You had your outside brawling before the match. And it was okay. I mean, Jinder Mahal and Braun Breaker enhanced this match.
Yeah, Veer was very good. The other guy can't really do much. I don't remember what his name is.
Sangha.
I mean, he works, and WWE does a good job of selling for him that he's really big and strong.
He works better with the tag team. When he was doing his solo stuff, it didn't work very well.
But that's
now that he's back
Veer
together,
is actually really good.
Yeah.
And the big issue I have here is, do they have raw athletic ability? Absolutely. They pull off some crazy things here and there, but the Creed brothers suck. And
Julius is okay. Brutus is not.
The smaller one, Brutus, he literally sucks. Like
every time he would come in the ring,
he just does that double arm thing, and
it
doesn't even look like it's doing any damage.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's the thing, Julius, because we saw that singles match with Julius on a few pay-per-views ago, and he had a decent match against Jinder Mahal.
We also saw the other Julius 2 matches that he had before that were terrible.
Yeah.
I do think they both have like a raw athletic ability to possibly be good, but
Julius
right now
has the higher ceiling.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm just tired of this push. I already see that they're probably going to end up releasing the other brother. Like at some point, they're going to push Julius to be a solo act, and then they're just going to wave.
Well, I mean, who would you? It's kind of like Edge and Christian, even though they weren't legit brothers. Edge and Christian, like they had more faith in Edge than they did with Christian, right?
Well, so Edge was meant to be pushed as his own character. They started releasing him with these like grunge like vignettes.
Yeah.
Of like him hanging out in the dirty city.
Yeah.
Like kind of like he was going to be Raven or something. And then when he came in, they didn't know what to do with him because these vignettes didn't go anywhere in the story.
But then he took on a character of all his own. He came up with the rated R superstar.
Well, what did he start off as first? Was he immediately in the Brood?
Yeah, that's where he started from. It was one of Gangrel's lackeys.
Yeah, with Christian. And I mean that's fine. I see where that's going. This is like, oh, they're brothers, but we're gonna sign both because we really want this one, but we don't want to make him upset, so we'll just sign his brother, and then eventually we're gonna release him, and yada yada yada. So that's how this feels.
Didn't they do that they did that recently with the Hardys? They released Matt, but they kept Jeff, and then they ended up releasing Jeff anyway.
I mean, Prime Matt was really good.
Yes,
he gets overlooked a lot in the wrestling world. But digressing.
Yeah.
I do really like Braun Strowman in these scenarios.
Braun Breaker. Sorry. We don't like Braun Strowman.
I like Braun Breaker in these scenarios. His range, he's a good wrestler. Yeah. His range, though, especially in longer matches, just doesn't work. Like
no, he would if he's called up to the main roster, I think he would work well in a tag.
Yeah, he's great in a tag. Excellent. And you can get him the experience he requires in that.
Yeah, he's got that raw ability. It's clearly there. I mean, his dad is Rick and his uncle Scott. So the ability and the in-ring acumen, there's a word for you. The in-ring acumen is there. He knows what he needs what he needs to do. It's just he doesn't have that experience yet. His ceiling is very high though.
Yeah, he has this stuff. Like he did a few things in that match.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. I didn't know you had that.
I gotta say, stop using the spear as a finisher. I'm tired of it. Too many people use it. It's overplayed. It's not. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not believable as a finisher.
It's not, and it's like it got introduced, like it became mainstream by being someone set up to a finisher, and now everyone's using it as a finisher.
Yeah. Roman, well, I mean, he uses the Superman punch, but he uses the spear. Edge uses the spear
as a finishing move, though, too.
Bobby Lashley uses the spear,
and it's like Brock Lesnar uses the spear.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, but a lot of these other wrestlers are using it and it's not a finishing move. So like, how are you trying to justify? It's like super kicks now. You can't have a super kick as your finishing move because everyone just does super kicks mid-match.
Yeah. Whereas Shawn Michaels, that super kick was his finisher and it was sold as a devastating kick.
But at the time, he was really the only one dropping super kicks. Like maybe Lance Storm was dropping super kicks.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a super mainstream thing now. Now all this generation of wrestlers, they just super kick.
The Bucks,
the
Omega.
Bucks do it 8 times in a match. There's a reason their song says super kick party because that's all they do. And it's not taking away from them. I don't mind it, but it just can't be a finishing move.
Yeah. But back to the topic at hand. Like I said, another half decent match. The only thing I don't like is the way Indus tag each other in. Have you noticed that? That bothers me. They do the arm, like they clinch arms. They don't.
So how come you don't like it?
I don't like that because it looks awkward. And if you don't have your timing right, it looks silly. Like, you know how they kind of clasp elbows.
Yeah.
But I never like that tag. Like when it comes to tags, I'm a traditionalist. You got to have your hand on the string and reach out for the tag. But
like FTR.
That's like FTR. I'm a traditionalist in that sense of the word. But I mean, another half decent match. Like, I mean, Julius obviously has a higher ceiling than Brutus and Braun Breaker in a tag. It wasn't so bad. And I know you're also not a fan of the multi-man tag matches, but this was okay for what it was.
Yeah, it was fine. So far, we're off to a good start, except for all the middle pieces.
Yeah. The in-ring work was good. All the promos in between were horrible.
Absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
This was the worst it's ever been. And it does not get better. It just continues to get worse.
Yeah. Because right after that, we had the Grayson Waller effect with Shawn Michaels as his guest.
You know what?
This was good.
Grayson Waller's good.
Yes, this was good.
He's way above the level of talkers in this company.
Shawn Michaels also played well off of him.
Yeah.
Like if this were anybody other than Shawn Michaels, this maybe wouldn't have played off so well.
Shawn is Shawn. Like,
yeah, he's always been a good talker.
He's been in here, this company for decades, been in the business.
30, 35 years he's been with the company, right? Like he knows what he's doing. And you could see that Shawn influencing Grayson Waller in terms of like on the mic.
And I think that's what the whole point of this scenario is.
Yeah. And then
I'm happy he did not agree to fight him.
Yes. And that's what Shawn said. They you know how many times they've driven truckloads of money to my house, and I keep telling him, no, I'm not, because I don't know if you saw that Crown Jewel or whatever it was, where it was DX reunited, Shawn Michaels against Kane, and that was horrible.
It's rated as like one of the worst pay-per-view matches of all time.
Yeah. So Shawn knows his in-ring ability has deteriorated. He can't do what he used to do. So it set up a good match for NXT Stand and Deliver. You're getting Johnny Gargano returning to NXT.
Yeah.
Which is good. I like Johnny Gargano coming back to NXT because he was underutilized on the main roster.
So here's my question to you. Does he squash Grayson Waller in his comeback, or does he put him over?
He puts him over.
I don't know. I think that's what's going to happen, but I think it's a bad idea.
Or they're going to have a banger match and Gargano wins by the skin of his teeth.
Okay, I'll take it.
Gargano can still win and put him over.
Yeah.
Right? Like if Waller has a phenomenal match, he could get put over and still lose the match.
I can't say the same for the controversial ending that will occur today, but I mean, digressing. We'll talk about it.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, this was okay. Johnny Gargano. They also talked about the feud that Gargano and Waller had right before he left NXT, right before he was let go. And I kind of like this. I like Gargano in this NXT role, kind of what they're doing, like Apollo Crews. He's there to put people over. Like Gargano, we clearly know he's not going to be winning big titles on the main roster. Maybe a US championship run was the highest he could have gone. He's a great wrestler and he's a great in-ring performer, but his high point was either with NXT. He's bigger. He's better as a big fish in a small pond than a small fish in the big ocean. You know what I mean? He works better in this capacity, I think. So
he feels like an indie wrestler. So
yeah, like I mean, or they have to team him back up with Tommaso Ciampa when he comes back.
I mean, it is. I think this is a scenario where it's the right call. WWE has the opposite problem that AEW has, where AEW can't seem to figure out what to do with big men, and WWE can't seem to figure out what to do with the smaller guys.
The indie style.
Yeah. So,
but I mean, good for him. It's going to be a good match. Like, I mean, Stand and Deliver is looking to be like a pretty decent show.
Yeah.
So
I'm ready.
I think this was more to set up the next pay-per-view than it was to promote this own pay-per-view, because there's a lot of that in this episode. Then we head into our next match of the night, which was it JC Jane against Gigi Dolan.
So this is it happens again later, so I'm not going to wait for it. But an issue that I have, that I started realizing what my issue was in WWE with women's wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to run. And I started really paying attention. I even went back on the network and started watching things.
They're very awkward. JC Jane, especially when she runs, she looks very awkward.
They look like they're trying to pick up speed, but then they don't. And it makes it hard when they do corner spots or when they go off the ropes, because they're not even moving. It looks like they're walking.
Yeah.
So it's like there was a spot where JC throws her off the rope, or Gigi throws her off the rope,
yeah.
And then she runs into the ropes, and JC just stops. Like, it was so easy for her to stop because she's not even moving.
Yeah.
And then Gigi ran into her so slowly for, I don't remember what the move was, like a clothesline or something. And it was like, and I don't think either of these women are bad wrestlers. These are probably two of the best wrestlers they have on NXT. But it's just like,
it's another situation where these two worked good as a tag team, but you could see that Gigi is the better performer over JC.
Yeah, JC's still good, but I think that's my main takeaway from this, because I notice it even in the main event. They're not actually running. They're just like quickly walking, where the men look like they're running full speed into the ropes.
In all honesty, with the main event, Meiko Satomura was throwing in some harder hits than any of those women on that roster.
Yeah, but she's like a legendary wrestler.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was an okay match. It wasn't anything special. It wasn't bad, but it was okay.
Yeah, Gigi delivered a lot of
it was more of a
Bliss style offense for a bit, where I was not convinced, but then it kind of turned around. I don't feel like either one of them was bad in this match. I feel like the choreography that they set up for this match was bad. Like, whoever helped them choreograph this match, this was not a well planned out match. You could see there was a few times where they had to think about what they were supposed to do.
Are they afraid of maybe that they don't want to push the women as hard as the men, meaning physically push them due to injury?
Maybe
they're afraid of they might get injured.
WWE is very self-involved and like cares about image, and like they maybe don't want them to get damaged faces or something.
Yeah.
Because if they sell tickets based on how they look, which is very bad to say, but I feel like that's legitimately how WWE
where then you
works.
have someone like Britt Baker, who, how many times has she busted her nose now?
Yeah, but that's like, and we're just talking about this, okay? But like, you go back the other day and you watch like Rio versus who did she fight? Saraya or I don't even remember, but she fought.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other day she just fought
Toni Storm.
She fought Toni Storm, and then she fought Nyla Rose.
Oh, Nyla Rose.
And
that's right. Yeah.
Both of those women are much larger, especially Nyla Rose, much larger. And
well, I mean, not that it should have anything to do, but Nyla Rose is trans, though, right?
Yeah,
so
irrelevant at this point.
She's in the women's division, exactly.
and she's one of the best women's
She's a
wrestlers they
great
have.
in-ring performer. She is. Absolutely she is.
But I like just watch them in the ring and how hard they hit each other. Like Emi Sakura's like a perfect example. Like anybody who steps in the ring with Emi, automatically it's a good match because she hits you hard, she lets you hit her hard, and
Yuki Sakazaki's another one.
Yeah, they run the ropes. They're like running the rope. That's how you work, okay? You run
and that's the thing
ropes.
too. You're saying about Riho. Riho's a smaller, like she's not even 100 pounds,
but watch her.
She makes it believable.
Look how fast she moves and stuff. And like I'm saying, I know this is such a dumb thing to complain about, but when you just watch the WWE women run, they're not even going anywhere. How am I supposed to believe that you're doing something impactful when you're not even like going fast?
Absolutely.
Sorry,
but we digress.
Big digression.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. I mean, then we get the spot at the end where she put her head in the chair kind of thing. JC puts, and she was like going to tease that she was going to like hit the chair and break her neck or something. So clearly, this feud is continuing.
Okay, but this match wasn't bad. It was fine.
Yeah,
I expected more between these two.
Yeah.
And this is like almost the blow off. Like there's there's one more probably.
And that's it. It's probably going to be a stip match.
Yeah.
But
it's going to be hardcore.
Yeah. Next we have NXT champion Braun Breaker in the ring one more time. Carmelo Hayes comes out, and that Carmelo Hayes and Braun Breaker are having that title match. Here's the title change.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I really, really, really don't. I don't think he's bad. He has bad mic skills, but I hate Carmelo Hayes' character. It's so annoying. It's like I'm just cool. Like he has no personality. His personality is I'm just cool, and it's so
even though
annoying.
He's probably the best in-ring worker they have down there.
Absolutely,
and this is going to be a good match. And I'm looking forward to this match too.
Just to like even point it out more though, when he was on the mic. When he was on like the commentary, it's like he didn't even know what to say. So every
he was at a loss
for
words.
For them was just like, I'm cool.
You clearly see the difference from when Dusty and when Regal were running NXT. They were really heavy on promo ability. Like you notice that now because they're gone. And I'm hoping Sean can like instill some of that promo ability, some of that charisma. Like Grayson is a great talker. If they can get Carmelo Hayes to have the same mic ability that Grayson Waller has, this kid could be unstoppable.
Yeah, I don't even think he has bad mic skills. I just think his character is crap. Like he has no personality. He's like a cut and paste, like this is what you are, okay? And they're like, he's like, okay. Because we know WWE doesn't let a lot of wrestlers choose what they're going to be.
Choose their own gimmick.
It's like predetermined.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was good. They're going to put the title on the line. I think this is where you pull the trigger for Carmelo Hayes.
You have to. After
like it's not going to hurt Braun. Like even if you keep Braun in NXT, it's not going to hurt Braun. Maybe have Braun go on a tag team run.
I think that they should introduce another belt. Maybe like a trios belt. I don't know.
TV championship?
Maybe. I feel like for the amount of wrestlers they have, there's a real lack of movement of championships, number one. And
the only one that moves a lot is the women's tag.
Yeah. So
and the men's tag too. The men's tag moves a lot too.
Yeah, but it's between a really specific group of people.
Yeah.
Like, there's a whole group of tags that are not even have a chance to ever win that.
True. But maybe they need to reintroduce the cruiserweight belt.
Yeah, something like that. That's fine with me.
Because Roderick Strong and Carmelo Hayes, they did the unification match for the cruiserweight and the North American Championship. Maybe it's time to bring back the cruiserweight so you can have guys like Nathan Frazier and Axiom and some of maybe the smaller guys compete for that type of belt.
My butt hurts on this chair.
But yeah, I mean, it was fine for what it was. And then we have our next match of the night, which was which we didn't talk about. Then we had another backstage segment with what's it called? The porno actress there and he's like, oh, I'm going to call her right now and this and that. And he goes, oh, that's a good call. Sending you, that's a good idea that you sent her the flowers. Like, I didn't send her flowers.
It's so stupid.
It's like here in Canada, we have a television network called TLN. And late at nights, they used to show this show called Latin Lover, which was like the soft core.
Everyone knows this. It's Red Shoe Diaries.
Yeah. And that's exactly what this reminds me of, like the soft core, like.
But they have really poorly designed sets as well.
Yes.
They look like cardboard walls and like stuff like that.
It looks like what the APA used to use. Remember they had the door and it was just the door.
Yeah, but that was good. That's good WWE comedy.
Yeah, because they knew what it was. They're not making it look like it's a set. This looks like it's a set.
There's too much NXT relying on the reality of inter-company relationships and stuff like that. Like it's always about someone dating somebody. It's so stupid.
Yeah, it is very much so. But next we get into our next match, which is Andre Chase with Thea Hall and Duke Hudson against Joe Gacy and the rest of the Dyad Schism, whatever they're called. Yeah, I mean, Andre Chase, one thing I have here, Andre Chase is underrated. This guy can go.
Yeah, big time. Super underrated. The match was good.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Joe Gacy, for a big guy, he can move too.
Yeah, that girl's not scared of the other girl anymore.
Thea Hall. Which leads into the finish of the match, though. Because I thought Chase had this match won. And then there was some sort of in-ring distraction.
We hear about it later, but Chase always has every match won and then doesn't win. So, I mean...
Chase is that enhancement talent, but I don't...
He's an enhancement talent.
But
Johnny Gargano should not be an enhancement talent.
No. But I mean, Andre, like I said, he's probably one of those guys we were saying in that midfield that could use something like a cruiserweight championship. And like, I could see Chase with a lower secondary belt or tertiary belt and having like a great gimmick with it.
Yeah. But you need stuff like that, especially in WWE, because there's always like a comedy skit to be had with a low quality belt.
And I enjoy it. We have like a little, Chase was distracted by that, allowing Gacy to do his world chaser or whatever it was called, his move. And Chase loses the match due to a distraction of, what's it called? Thea Hale trying to show off that she's not afraid of Ava Raine anymore. And he was too proud of her, caused the distraction, and I hate these distraction finishes though. It was a good match except for the finish, and I will take away point for that, but like it was a decent match. And like I said, one thing I take away from this is Chase is such a good in-ring performer, and they need to do more with this guy, more with his character. Mm-hmm. Even his comedy bits work.
Yeah.
Right. And Duke Hudson, I don't know where they're going with this now, because they kind of had like a little tussle after.
But I thought that was really good. That was really well acted and like put together.
No, this was probably one of the highlights of the show. So it's a storyline that had some comedy, but not enough that it took away from the match, because clearly Chase is a comedic wrestler, but when it's go time for him. But what happened with that feud between him and Gulak and Dempsey there?
I don't know. I don't watch NXT.
Oh, there you go.
You wanted my answer.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
You watch the main shows. So right after that, we're getting into our main event. We get a hype package for Meiko Satomura. And then it's like we get the thing again of like the Perez looks up to her. But Meiko just like absolutely dominated this match.
So
this was Moxley booking at its finest.
A lot of WWE outlets were upset because she dominated the entire match. Dominated the match. Like not even
there was
remotely.
That crazy where Roxanne is kind of like on her hands and knees and she does this weird kick flip. Like she does like a somersault in midair and kicks her in the back of the head. And it's like, Like,
I don't know. I can't even. It
but
was
I mean,
kind of like Roxanne was no selling everything,
yeah,
and then randomly just pulled off a sun or whatever a roll
her
up.
pop rocks there, yeah, her roll up win. And yeah, and it's like, yeah, it was like it wasn't even a finish or anything. It was just like a quick roll up for the, like, she didn't do her finisher or anything.
Mid getting dominated.
Yeah, it's John Moxley booking, as you like to call it.
Yeah, but John Moxley gets up, does Death Rider, does the other whatever it's
Yeah,
called, and then the match is over.
and then the match is over. Yeah, he at least gets his finisher in. Yeah, because Perez was hit with a few finishers. Booker T was at his weirdest again in this match. Something's got to be done about that guy. I don't like him on commentary.
This was the best he's ever been.
Yeah, which doesn't say much.
He yells way too much. He spends
Yeah.
most of the show screaming. I like shout out to whoever does the volume or the sound on those shows because they balance him out so well with the other guy. The other guy never raises his voice.
Vic Joseph there.
Booker T never gets any louder than him in your ears, but you could tell that he's starting to scream.
To elevate, yeah.
Yeah.
But after the match, like I said, Perez gets a roll up for the win, which is kind of weird. Satomura does the typical honorable, like the Japanese style, passes her the belt, puts it around her waist, congratulations to the winner. You beat me.
Undeserved.
Well, but I mean, this was all to put Perez over. And then Perez kayfabe passes out.
Yeah, whatever.
The reason at first I thought, okay, maybe, but then they kept focusing the camera on her. So when they keep focusing the camera, I'm like, okay, this is a work. And then what sealed the deal for me in that was the fact that as they're wheeling her to the back, Sean is the one trying to put the oxygen mask on her. If she were really, really in trouble, or the paramedics would have pushed him aside. And that's what proves to me that was a work.
Or what? Or is that just like trying to put over Mako and be like, yeah, look, she hurt her so bad that she passed out 10 minutes later.
Yeah. They were taken, and then you see her at the end. She's kind of like doing the wave that she's okay kind of thing. And I don't know. It was a decent match. Not bad, not great, but not bad.
This is not my champion.
No, Satomura should have won this match and have a dominant run with the belt. And then it would have told a better story of Perez working back to win it again.
Or move her to the main roster if that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah. But then again, on the main roster, what are you going to do there?
What are you going to do with Zoe Stark? She's never going to beat Roxanne.
That's true. But I mean, yeah, and then the show goes off the air. Weird end to not a bad show, not a great show, but it was one of the
gooder ones.
It was one of the better ones, yeah.
Gooder.
Like, I mean, this was other than that really Worlds Collide one, this is probably the second best one after Worlds Collide.
Yeah, I mean, Worlds Collide was special.
Yeah, that one was really, really good. But I mean, it was what it was. I mean, wasn't bad, wasn't great, but it was okay. It was watchable.
7.1.
I'm right below you. I gave it a 6. I gave it a 6.9 actually.
Wow, you didn't even hit 7. I thought for what it was at least entertaining as hell.
Yeah.
If you take out
the reason why I dropped it to a 6.9, it would have been a 7.71 if they didn't have those stupid segments that took way too long.
Yeah, I don't think
total matches on the show totaled, was it 14 minutes, 4 minutes, 8 minutes, 11 minutes, and 11 minutes. So you had, was it 14, 18, 26, 37, 48 minutes of wrestling on a 2.5 hour show. That's why I dropped it down. You watched a condensed version, so it probably wasn't 2.5 hours.
I mean, it was still. The reasoning is, though, and my easiest way to say this, it's because it's still a regular episode of NXT, so they have to tell you all of those things.
Yeah,
you can't just remove all of those vignettes out of a regular episode.
Yeah. I mean, just to be fair, I will bump mine
No,
up.
you got to keep your freaking score.
Okay. I will keep it.
Don't you dare change it. Okay.
No. I'm keeping it at a 6.9.
Back.
And I'm putting yours. It's there. It's in the spreadsheet, Campo, so you'll know if I change it or not. And I put your 7-1 there. But I mean, like I said, it was a decent show. It was for what it was. Like you said, this was just a regular NXT show with a special name attached to it. So, but like I said, those vignettes, I had to take away points for that.
They're really awful.
Yeah, they need to do something about that. But that's our review. Best match of the night. Which one was your favorite match of the night?
The first match?
Yeah, the Tony D'Angelo one?
I guess, yeah. I mean, they were all pretty even, except for the only one that I would say, look at and be like, this wasn't the best match, was JC Jane versus Gigi Dolan, and it still was a serviceable.
Yeah, it did what it had to do. But yeah, I kind of would agree with you on that. I would say the opening match was the best match.
They had tables and chairs. This is WWE.
Mm-hmm.
They in one match, they did tables and chairs. Usually you're only going to get one.
Unless it's a specific TLC match.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's available on the network. If you have time to kill, watch the matches, fast forward through everything else. So with that out of the way, guys, thanks again for joining us. Tune in later this week. Campo and I will have our monthly State of Wrestling roundtable later in the week. So make sure you join us for that. And with that out of the way, thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you all next time.